I am a seminary teacher for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Seminary is a worldwide 4-year religious educational program for youth ages 14 through 18. In seminary, students and their teachers meet each weekday during the school year to study Scripture. Courses are taught by full-time instructors like me in populous areas of the church and by volunteers in other areas. To accommodate students throughout the world, seminary programs are offered in a variety of class formats. For most students around the world, daily classes are organized where students meet together each weekday in the morning, afternoon, or evening. I teach Release Time Seminary, which has classes held during school hours in areas of concentrated church membership, according to the adjacent public school schedule. The church is a supporter of educational technology, and in my classroom I have a projector, laptop, and sound system. When it comes to the students' use of technology in the classroom, that's where there is a gap. Typically, students use their paper scriptures in their study, discussions, and teaching opportunities. This technology is very old. Think 1400s Gutenberg Bible old. At the same time, most of my students have their own personal cell phones. There's no official policy that would not allow students to use their phones in the classroom, but most teachers, myself included, have not allowed this because they feel that they distract more than they contribute to learning. My proposal here is to implement an official plan to integrate mobile technology into the seminary classroom. This will help teachers make learning more authentic to students who live in a digital world. The technology required for this plan would both be hardware and software. Luckily, most students already have access to both. First, we would have students bring their own mobile devices to class. On their devices, they would need to access the Gospel Library app. This is a free app that eclipses the resources available in the students' regular paper scriptures. The Gospel Library app is one produced by the church that gives students access to the scriptures, talks from church leaders, dictionaries, indexes, and a whole host of multimedia resources. Students can log into the app and save all the work they do indefinitely. They can highlight their scriptures, make notes, link scriptures together, and so forth. The combination of their mobile device and the application really open up many new learning possibilities. Burnett explained in the article Being Together in Classrooms at the Interface of Physical and Virtual that classrooms have the potential to provide rich opportunities for learners to experiment, share, and learn from one another as they make meanings in, through, and around virtual environments. In the seminary classroom, providing students with the chance to navigate, explore, and interact using their mobile devices will help them create meaning in both virtual and physical spaces. An example of the new styles of teaching and learning that will be possible with this integration is universal design for learning. This type of learning gives all individuals equal opportunities to learn and provides a blueprint for creating instructional goals, methods, materials, and assessments that work for everyone. Not a single one-size-fits-all solution, but rather a flexible approach that can be customized and adjusted for individual needs. One simple example of this in the seminary classroom, afforded through the use of mobile devices, is the chance for students to listen to their scriptures and not just read them. Not all students are proficient readers, and scriptural text can be hard. The Gospel Library application provides the option for students to listen to the scriptures in an audiobook format. One final example of how using this technology will provide positive pedagogical potential is in the practice of self-explanation. Devers explained that self-explanation is a technique that encourages students to evaluate, connect, and self-correct their knowledge. This practice has always been a part of the seminary experience. Students are encouraged to assess and evaluate what and how they're learning. Using mobile devices increases the ways in which students can perform this function of learning. They could record a video of their reflection, text their teacher their evaluation, record it in their journal function of the Gospel Library application, or even share it online. How then do we implement this policy and practice into the classroom? Before getting into the logistics of my proposal, I think there are a few issues that must be addressed. The sections framework explains that students vary greatly in the way that they learn. Thus, the intelligent use of media and technology can help accommodate these differences. Let's use the sections framework to assess the use and implementation of mobile devices in the seminary classroom. First, under Access, section states that if students cannot access it in a convenient and affordable manner, they cannot learn from it. The most fundamental step that needs to be taken to ensure we can implement this policy of mobile learning in seminary classroom is that all students need to access a device. This is why we will follow a BYOD, bring your own device, practice. When it comes to BYOD, sections has us consider several questions, including what kind of device do they need? What kind of applications will they need to run on their devices for study purposes? What skills will they need? If they don't have the skills, how are they going to get trained? These questions serve as a guideline for the implementation plan. First, to ensure that students have all equal access to devices, a few class devices should be purchased. This way, students who do not have the money to purchase their own device are not left out of practice. At the beginning of the class, students can sign out a loaner device. Next, at the beginning of the semester, the seminary teacher will invest time in preparing devices with the students. For this, they will ensure that all devices have the Gospel Library application, that all students have an account logged in to the application so their work is saved, and finally, that all students can connect to the classroom Wi-Fi. Next, the teacher will spend time training students on the necessary skills required to navigate and use the application. How do they highlight? How do they make notes? How do they search for content? And so forth. In the initial implementation, a teacher might want to run a trial class for a semester to get used to the new management issues that will arise. Throughout the implementation process, it would be wise to have students evaluate their experience with the new tools they are using. This feedback will guide the teacher in ways that they could better train and assist students in using their devices. Finally, before all of this even begins, it would be wise for central office to put together some simple professional development for teachers to help them be aware of the basic skills they will need to help students in this new digital journey. Budget-wise, this would not be a very expensive venture for the church education system to invest in. All buildings already have Wi-Fi that students have access to. The application is free and has been fully developed already. And most students have access to their own device. For the sake of this proposal, I will budget a few new expenses for a single classroom implementation. It would be smart to purchase 4 to 5 mobile devices for the class so students who do not own a device can participate. If we purchased 5 iPad mini version 4s at 16 gigabytes, we would need a device budget of about $1,250. The classroom already has a projector, but we would need the ability for the teacher and students to share the device screens. Thus, a Chromecast for Android devices and an Apple TV for Apple devices should be purchased. This would give us a display budget of $300. That's really it. To implement this in the classroom, a total budget of $1,550 is all I would require. In conclusion, it is important that students are provided with learning opportunities that are authentic, engaging, and relevant to their lives. Using mobile devices is something that they do on a regular basis, and the integration of mobile devices into the seminary classroom will afford meaningful learning opportunities. Campia explained that one of the benefits of students using mobile devices is that it allows the students to do tasks at their own pace and places the locus of control in their own hands. What makes this proposal so great is that it's not going to be very difficult or expensive to implement. Most teenagers are very tech savvy and will require very little training, and most already own the devices that we will need to use. At first, this policy could and should be optional, as teachers often struggle with teens and mobile devices. But I would suggest that eventually it becomes mandatory in all seminary classrooms to ensure that students are given the best opportunities for learning. Thank you for considering my proposal.